Hi, everybody, and welcome. It's August 14, and it's the Sidelines Unite team call. I'm so excited to be here with you tonight. I'm Tammy Ray, independent consultant and regional vice president with Arbonne, and I tell you what, I get more excited about this business every day. And these calls, for anyone who's new to the call, I just wanted to thank you, first of all, for investing in yourself and your business and plugging in, because that was a big part of, we just got back from Impact Training Tour yesterday, and that was a big message put out by all of these NVPs, is that it's a necessity in our business to plug in. So they actually used the term, if you are not plugging in, you will die. Like your business is not alive. And we need a community, don't we, of support. No one went to school for network marketing, so we really need each other to help, and share our experiences and just really support each other. So that's what these Sidelines Unite calls are all about. It is the culture of Arbonne to pull together and share. We're not in competition with each other. We don't compete with each other. We complete each other. And so in my, this is my vision for this call, is that it's like the sequoia tree. It is the largest, longest lasting tree, longest living tree, and yet it has the shallowest root system. And the reason it can grow so tall for so long is because its roots intertwine with each other. So that's what this Sidelines Unite call means to me, is that we're going to grow strong, healthy, sustainable teams by pooling our amazing, experiences and support together. So just appreciate you all for coming on tonight and sharing this time. So one of the blessings of Arbonne is getting to meet new people. And, the longer you're around Arbonne, you just know that this company is so special because of the people that are drawn and, are a part of this company. And Erin DeVoy is with us tonight, and it's because I met her upline MVP, Christy Aldridge, at Green Bay last year, 2 years ago, and then Christy asked me to do a call for her team, and so their team sort of got to know me, and now I get to know them. So anyway, it's super cool. If you heard Danielle Paskin's call a couple weeks ago, Erin is a sideline to Danielle, and they're both amazing. And it was interesting because Erin shared with me that when she met Danielle was one person she knew she just wanted to be friends with. And it's so true what you said, Erin, that we become like the people that we hang around. So think about the 5 people that you hang around, and, either that's a good thing or maybe you need to assess and evaluate that. But in Arbonne, we get to be together, even if it's on Zoom, and, grow together. And it's like our businesses are all patchwork quilts of one another. And I love that. So I am just thrilled to hand it over. So Erin has an amazing story. She is someone that for most of us would be on our chicken list because she's a physical therapist and very successful. Highly educated, and for a lot of us, we go, that she has it all together. She wouldn't need Arbonne. And I just can't wait for her to share how she was introduced, and, a little bit about the person who was talking to her kindly and persistently over a lot of time and how it all evolved. And then we'll get into the nitty-gritty where Erin shares a little bit of her wisdom and insight as to how her business has grown and what she's done to grow an amazing organization. So I just can't wait to hear from you, Erin. I loved our talk earlier today. So love you, and thank you for being with us.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's an honor to get to share. I always want to bless other people in life, and of course, bring people more into my Arbonne organization, but I really want to just bless people outside of my Arbonne organization too. So this is that opportunity, and I hope that someone is on the call tonight that can really use my story and use my struggles and just be inspired, right? And go forth and do something big at the end of this month. So that's my hope for tonight. But thank you for letting me hop on with you. And you want me to just take it away and get going?
Tell a little bit about your background and then how you were introduced to Arbonne and how that all transpired, because we want to know, why would a physical therapist be regional vice president in Arbonne?
Oh, well, thank you. So my Arbonne story begins about 2.5 years ago, but I'll back you up a ways past that. So I became a physical therapist about 10 years ago, and I've always known, there are a few things about me that you should know. I've always known that I wanted to help people in some way. PT was just on my to-do list in life. It was, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go forward and I'm going to do that. And I did. And the other thing I think you should know about me is that I just am stubborn, determined. I don't know if there's been some good in that and some bad in that. But I've also been intrigued by network marketing. It's not something that I always wanted to admit, but I've known the potential. I've seen it. I've been curious, but I just kind of stuffed it because it wasn't something that it wasn't a fit for me, or wasn't the right season, whatever the case may be. So those two things led to the entry of my Arbonne business 2.5 years ago. I had been a PT for 7 years at that time. Loved it for the most part. I love my career and my profession and how I get to help people. But what many of you may not know, or maybe you do know if you're in this situation yourself, is that the American dream, as I saw it, was to go to school, get a degree, get married, have kids, buy a house, maybe own a few pets. And that's exactly what I did. And I didn't quite realize that that would also mean a huge mountain of school debt. Going to school for 7 years to get my doctorate didn't leave me wealthy. So the huge school debt, yes, we got married, and then we had babies. So 3 babies on top of that, and a mortgage, a home mortgage, just kind of left us working paycheck to paycheck. And I was thinking, this cannot even be possible. Like, I have an incredible degree and I did everything that I was supposed to do, but why does it feel so miserable? And it just built up over time and became something that felt so unbearable. The burden was so heavy to carry. I cried mornings when I would drop off my little guy, my 3rd one by this time. I thought, here we go again. I'm paying for a daycare, and my heart feels so heavy. And I would get to work and I would give my all to all of my patients, and then at the end of the day I would feel so spent and I wouldn't have anything left for my husband or for my kids. And it was ongoing, right? Day in, day out. You just go to work to pay the bills. And so 2.5 years ago, I just reached a breaking point. It was probably close to an emotional breakdown. I just was so exhausted and so burdened by our debt and by the fact that it really didn't seem like we were ever going to get out, that I just, it wasn't even me anymore. I didn't even know how to function. And so with that being the starting point of my Arbonne business, hang on to that thought for a second and let me explain to you how I even knew about Arbonne. Okay, so that's where I was. That was the point of need, right? The point where I was like desperate for something. But 7 years prior, when I first started my PT career, I met Jodine Barba, and she is an executive regional vice president now, and she had just started Arbonne on that week that I had started my PT career. And she was excited and so, ready to just share Arbonne with everyone and anyone. And I remember her saying, you should check out this business. It's great. You'd be so good at it. I know. I sat back and laughed, and I was typing away on my computer and proud of my new accomplishments. And I just said, no, thanks, but it's not really for me. But good luck. I knew in my mind that those businesses worked, but I wasn't going to start one right now. So I was like, you go do that. That's great. And so I think what's interesting to know is that she started as a consultant in front of me, and she became a district manager in front of me, and she became an area in front of me, and she would drop hints along the way, along the years, okay? It was 7 years that she and I worked with each other, and that she would be sprinkling on me. And she would say things like, my area of expertise in physical therapy is pelvic floor PT. So I work with men, women, and children who have pelvic floor dysfunction, like bowel and bladder issues. And she'd say, this nutrition line would be so great for your patients. And I'd say, oh, that's great. That's good. Good to know. Thanks. And so I remember one day when she came to work with her Mercedes, and she didn't invite me to her car presentation, which I have since said, why didn't you invite me? I don't know why. But I saw the Mercedes, and we even went marketing together in her Mercedes. And I remember it. It had tan leather seats, sparkly white paint. It was gorgeous. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, what do I need to do to get one of these? I want one of these. But there was no way I was going to tell her that. I just said, nice car. You did it. Good job. But I was making those mental notes, right, of her success. And she became a regional vice president in front of my eyes. So all those years, I was making these mental notes. And when I became so miserable, and when I reached that point of desperation and I needed something, I was thinking to myself, like, how in the world can I make more money than I am now and work fewer hours? I don't even know how that's possible. But maybe Jody has the answer because she would tell me, she even once said to me, you know, I'm making more money than you as a physical therapist. And I only work 10 to 15 hours in Arbonne. And I was thinking, well, that is crazy. I don't even think that's possible. So back to that point in my life where I was exhausted and not myself anymore, and, you know, just in this miserable place. My husband and I had always agreed that if ever we were unhappy in our career choice, that we would support each other and help each other find a different way. And so he was totally supportive of me finding a different way. It's just that he is a teacher and living on a teacher's salary would be very difficult for us. So he was not a big fan of my idea to quit work, which was what my idea was. It was, let's leave this job where I'm miserable and maybe find a part-time PT job somewhere else, but I don't know where exactly. Let's just take a break. And in the craziness of stepping back, I thought, I'm going to call Jody. I don't know what that looks like, but I've just got to see if by chance she has the answer. And so I did. I called her up. And can you imagine how excited she was? This person finally is calling me. And she was so gracious and kind. She loaned me her skincare bag, her gold bag, which I fell in love with. I was mad that she took it away from me after a weekend. And then I said, well, can you just come over for coffee and tell me about the business? Like, it might not be for me, but maybe it is. Just tell me what it is you're doing. And before she left that morning 2.5 years ago, I said yes. I said, well, yeah, I can do these things. I can do this. I don't know what it takes, but I can do it. If I can be a PT, I can do this. I don't know, just something needs to happen. So that's where it began. And she coached me according to our system, right? The 2x2x2. And I jumped in, followed the system, and quickly promoted to district manager within 2 months. And then continued working the system really consistently and promoted to area within another six months, I think it was, maybe 8 months. And then that's where the growing began, right? I thought, well, just a few more months and I'll be a regional vice president. That's not quite how it works. For some, you know, we all have our journeys and we all have our areas where we need to grow. And that was where mine began. I had to heal from those years of working so much. And I just had to be present with my kids. And I had to get over lots of bitterness and whatever I had to deal with. There was a lot of junk that I just had to grow through. So it took me 2 years after that to then go into region quals this last April. So I love looking back and seeing along the way, if you stick with it, right? If you're consistent, you hear that all the time. And that's what I did. I had my ups and downs, but I was really consistent with the work, the activity. I didn't stop. It wasn't hard, crazy, 50 hours a week. It was the consistent 10 to 15 that I think is really the thing that brought me to the place that I was at. But I wanted to share with you something in particular, going from, well, when I promoted to area, that, as many of you know, right, it takes more than just you to get to area. It took me and a few others to get to area, and it was big to me. The numbers were big. It seemed scary. And I remember pushing hard. I needed to do like 3,000 the last 2 days or something like that. And that was, whoa, huge. And I recognized that same fear, the same hesitation of going from district to area as I did when I was nearing region. And I remember thinking, okay, just have to put this in perspective. And I recognized that it was fear. And I was ready to go for it, right? Like I knew after GTC, okay, our numbers are going up and this is what I want. This is what I've believed in. And I got it, right? So the first month was pretty good. Got it. Went into quals. I don't think it was 53,000 that we went into quals with. But what happened the next month is what I want to share with you, because no matter how strong you think you are, we all run into those times where we're scared, right? Whether it be promoting to area, whether it be promoting to district. For me, it was even more so promoting to region. And I realized, oh my gosh, there's no way. Like, I don't think we can do this. There's no way. We're 4 days away from the end and we're only at 22,000 and we needed 60, I think. I can't, the numbers are not clear in my head at the moment, but we needed a lot. And I remember thinking, there's no way I can do this. It's just not possible. But it is. I have faith. I have great faith. I've always had strong faith. I'm confident. Why can't we do this? We can do this. So I was just, back and forth and back and forth. And I will never forget that I was doing my devotionals one morning and my sidelines were awesome. Danielle was my biggest cheerleader. And I read, Eucharisteo, it means joy. Eucharisteo always precedes a miracle. And that day, I had an unusual peace. And I had no clue where those numbers were going to come from. But I just knew that whether or not it meant me reaching region, that God was just going to do something amazing. And I just had to trust that. And so, you guys, there's just something that happens when you put your mind to it. And John Maxwell also says it, that a good ending never happens by accident, right? So it was that moment when I read that, I thought, okay, I can do this. It is going to happen. And I don't know what it's going to look like, but it's going to be beautiful at the end. And those 3 days, I've never done so much activity in my entire life by myself. And then my team rallied as well. So what I did is absurd. And what they did was crazy. But together, we put our heads together and we worked hard and we came together, and of course we reached it and we exceeded it. I think we reached 63,000 or 65,000, something ridiculous. So I say that to say that we all have our fears, right? But if you do nothing about it, if you scrunch back and step back, then you will not reach your goal, right? But if you push through it and embrace it and really work hard and dig deep, anything is possible. And that's the really cool part about this business. I never got that option in physical therapy. I busted my behind all the time and I got nothing except for the reward of making my patients better, which is what kept me going. It was the only thing that kept me going. So that's kind of my Arbonne story in a nutshell. I'm now I'm a region and it's incredible, but it's also scary, right? Whenever you promote, the next scary thing is, well, how in the world am I going to maintain this, right? But I also know that when we work hard, I love that quote, I haven't come this far to just come this far. So I know that there's good things in store and can't wait to meet my new business builders in the oncoming months. And I love coaching my team. And it's just, this business is a journey. It's a faith-based journey. And that's the best part of it.
For sure. I have a quick question for you too before you get into the training part. So I want you to take us back to that point where you say, okay, Jodine, I'm in, teach me what to do. And now, how does your family react to a person who has their doctorate? How do your peers react to you? Like what was the temperature like when you stepped out onto this branch?
Right. Well, that time in my life was, when I look back, it was really messy. I wasn't healthy. My family didn't know me anymore, so they say. My mom will tell me all the time now, and I didn't even know you. You weren't even you. So it was such an emotional time. I was not even caring what anybody else thought. So that for me was first and foremost. This is my health, my business, my life. I don't care. I don't care. I'm just exhausted and need to get out. So that was kind of my mentality going forward, was this needs to work for us and I don't care what other people think. But I also look back and realize that so many people have since said to me, well, it worked well for you because you're a physical therapist. And I have to say that is not true. It's just simply not true, because when I stepped back from physical therapy, I did not work for an entire year. There were other things that I won't even get into, legalities and stuff that went along with that. But I took like a year sabbatical, and we had to downsize from a gorgeous home to an apartment, which we hadn't lived in an apartment since our college days. So it was incredibly humbling. I was exhausted, emotional, and I had no clue what the future held for us. I didn't even know how we were going to pay our bills. I simply had to say, I didn't even have the confidence to say I was a PT. I couldn't tell my clients I do this successfully and I'm a PT and I can work a lot, things side by side. I didn't even have that to say. I just had to dig deep and know that it was me. I had to get back to me and find who I was and be really true to myself and know that is what was going to build my business. People needed to see who I was, and I needed to be really genuine about that. And so that's how I got going. When Jody signed me up and I got going, I didn't rely on my physical therapy knowledge or skills or the title. It was, I'm Erin DeVoy. I'm an independent consultant with Arbonne, and I love helping others. My passion is healthy living. My passion is health and wellness. It wasn't PT. I was in such a bad state, I didn't even mention PT for a long time. So I think that's what I encourage all of my consultants and the people who I'm sharing Arbonne with, is that it doesn't really matter if I'm a PT or not. It doesn't matter if you are in the medical profession. It doesn't matter if you even have a career, right? You can be a stay-at-home mom. You can have no job at all. You can have kids, no kids, whatever. You just have to know who you are and what your reason for doing this is. Then you can go forward and do anything.
Woo! I love it. Thank you. So I know we talked about a little bit. So what was your turning point at Green Bay a couple years ago?
Well, so Green Bay 2 years ago was then when I had first become an area. And so that was my first Green Bay. And that was eye-opening too, because I was struggling with filling my calendar. I was struggling with, how do you maintain? There's so many things. Like, am I doing this right? Are my parties good? Am I saying the right things? Why can't I hadn't sponsored very many people. Why can't I sponsor people? I mean, those the same questions that we all think I was thinking. And I don't know how many times I would call Jody after my parties and say, what did I do wrong? Like, my sales weren't good, or I don't have any bookings, or what am I doing? Help me. And she would say, like, you're doing fine. It's nothing you're doing. It's just, you need to keep going. Well, I needed a little bit more than that. So I remember at that Green Bay, I heard Patrice Madison speak. And if you haven't heard her speak, she's great. She has just some amazing tips on how to take the drama out of your business and literally just look at it like a business, right? Like, treat this business like a multi-million-dollar business and stop with am I doing it right? What's wrong? What did I say? What did I do? And so she had a challenge that Green Bay, and it was to track your activity for 90 days. And you'd have to write down how many times you actually asked somebody something on the phone or in person, how many appointments you held, how many appointments you closed, and you'd have to track, like, what were your sales each week, and then what was your paycheck at the end of that month. And her thing then was, or that I remember her saying was, figure out how much money you're making per ask. Each time you ask, figure out what that is. Well, that was a foreign concept to me, but I thought, well, that would make my husband happy if I could tell him I'm making however much money each time I ask someone something. So I reached out to her and I attended a couple of her boot camps, and I started doing a little bit of coaching with her because I really wanted to see those numbers. And that has I believe that has truly influenced me and changed the face of my business, because I immediately stopped saying, am I doing it right? I already knew I was doing it right. I just could look at the numbers and see, oh, it's not that I didn't do it right. It's just that I haven't done enough of that activity yet to get the results. So she shared with me this one example, which has always been helpful for me, is that I'm not into sports either, so I probably don't do a very good job of explaining this, but she said, it's just like a baseball player, a professional baseball player, and he or she has a batting average, right? Well, that gives them confidence to know that each time they're up to bat, if they swing and miss, they don't get all emotional and say, what did I do? Oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened to me. They just know, well, they have an average, right? It takes them this many times to swing before they hit. And they know that, and they are confident about that. So it's just numbers. Then it might be 10 times before they swing and hit, but they know at some point they're going to have then a whole bunch of amazing hits, right? And knowing that gives them confidence. Knowing that also helps them work on it. If it's a bad average, okay, then they need to work on their skill and technique. But for me in Arbonne, it made me realize, okay, the averages that I was coming up with were, here's a couple of them. It was taking me about 3 asks, 3 times of saying, hey, would you like to have a little get together for me? Would you like to get together and hear a little bit about the business? Can you try out some product and give me your feedback? It took me 3 times of asking something before one person would say yes. So then I wasn't feeling bad.
And you mean asking 3 different people and one would say yes? Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Asking three. Well, and I guess you could probably look at it like if you ask one person 3 different times in life, that'd be the same thing. But it all of a sudden made me realize, oh, okay, in order to fill my calendar, if it takes me asking 3 times to get one booked appointment, okay, well then I need to be asking, let's say if I want to fill up 8 workshops in the month, 3 times 8 is 24. So I would need to be asking 24 people over the course of the month to have 8 workshops on my calendar. And so just tracking my activity began to give me the feeling of, well, this is a real business. I am being responsible, and I'm making sure that I'm doing enough of the activity so that I can expect the results that I want, right? And one thing she really worked on me with was how many people do I have on my contact list? And I remember one phone call with her. She said, well, how many people do you have to call? And I like, panicking and trying to come up with my list somewhere, which wasn't in any good place. And I said, well, I probably think of maybe like 20 people. And she goes, no. You need to have like 50 to 100 people on that list at any one given time, where you can just call the next day, call. You just keep going through that list. And it made me realize, well, I don't even know that many people. Or I thought, right? The thing that we all think in our head is, I don't know enough people, or I've reached out to everyone that I know. So I will never forget this phone call either. I called Christy Aldrich, our national vice president, and she's an incredible lady. And I said, Christy, I'm struggling with finding people to call, and I'm struggling with filling up my calendar. I just can't seem to get any workshops. And it was June of, not this year, it was of 2015. Christy, I need help filling my calendar. And I'll never forget her sweet little words. She always says sweets. And she said, sweets, you'll figure it out. And I was like, excuse me? Like, this is my national vice president. What did she just say? And I got off the phone, and I could have been upset with that, right? But instead I thought, she's right. We have an incredible system. There are thousands of people around me in the state of Oregon that I can reach out to. I can figure this out. So I took Patrice's information of, am I doing enough activity? And Christy's, you'll figure it out, to say, okay, how am I going to meet new people? If I don't feel like I have enough people to call and no one's booking parties, well, then I clearly need more people to talk with. So what am I going to do about it? And I don't know if you guys have heard of Patrice's book called Be Visible. It's a short read. I want to say maybe like 30 pages, 50 pages. It's short. But she gives you A to Z ideas for how to meet new people. And it's not going to instantly give you sales or a new consultant, but what it's going to give you is new people to ask to host a workshop for you, or new people to ask to try your product, or new people to ask about the business. So I decided for me, I personally liked the idea of doing a vendor event, and I like running races. I hope that I can run a half marathon at one point in my life. So I thought, well, that sounds easy. I'm going to set up a booth at a running race, and I'm going to share samples of protein shakes. And I think I've had little baskets that I've given away. Well, and everyone who puts their name in for those drawings was a winner. It was something that I could duplicate. So I would call them up and say, I met you at the Fueled by Fine Wine race, and you won the giveaway that I was doing, which was always a basket of goodies and a workshop. So I'd say, you won the little basket that I was giving away and a 30-minute workshop. I'm so excited to meet with you and your friends and to give you the goodie basket that you won. And that began a whole new world of bookings for me. They did not all pan out. And I think working in your cold market, it's harder. People flake out more, and I haven't had the opportunity to build relationships. It's a little bit more difficult, but it just began the process of meeting more people. I had more people to ask. I had more people to book workshops with. And from there, of course, I met new people, and that just continued to help me fill my calendar. And I have done that since. So for the past year, that has been my primary source of meeting new people and my primary source of filling my calendar. And from that, I have found great preferred clients and new consultants and new leads from leads, right? That's how our business works, is networking.
So Erin, like, how many vendor events are you doing, and what do you find your results are, like, from the leads, from the contact information that you get from people and you follow up? Then what, if you were tracking, what were your results from these vendor events? Because we all know some events are great, some are like, why did I even do that? So
what I have learned, and it would be my takeaway, is that no matter what you decide to do, whether it be, some craft fair or a race or whatever, however you decide to even find leads, it always comes back to building a relationship, right? And so it doesn't matter if I had 70 people put their names in a drawing for a free gift and workshop I was giving away. If I didn't connect with them, then I quickly found that when I called them up, a lot of them didn't even want the basket, or they didn't want the workshop. So what I have done, and I have tracked, and it's these results that have given me fruit from the labor, was that when someone would stop by my booth, I'd be really intentional about building a quick connection. Like, tell me something about yourself. Where do you work? Oh, you're running. You must love healthy living. Just quickly gather some information, and it would be that lead slip that I'd pull back out of the bucket, and I'd write on there, has 3 kids, this is her first 5K, she's currently using a protein shake but doesn't like it. So then when I would call, I would remember things that they had, that I had written down. And even if I didn't say that they were a winner, I could say, hey, we connected at the race, and you mentioned, this was your first 5K, how'd it go? And thanks for stopping by my booth. And I would just chat, right? Just try to start making something out of nothing. And that's where it began. So, I say these things cautiously because I don't want you to go out and sign up for a whole bunch of vendor events and, say, oh my gosh, that was a waste of money. You do have to be careful. As much as I could, I would do free. If I could join one for free, I'd do those. I kept my costs low. The most I've spent on one would be like I paid $200 to be in an event that had thousands of people. So I knew that I was going to have a pretty good number of people stopping by my booth, and that was worth it to me. But I just did one a month. I just thought, okay, do I have enough leads for this month? Do I have enough people to call this month? Do I have enough on my contact list to make 3 asks per day? And if I didn't, I just was having that conversation with myself of, okay, where am I going to meet new people? Who am I going to meet? What events am I going to attend? And you could do the same. You could do this, right? I have a lot of friends and business partners who love going to a park and meeting new moms, or going to join a book club and get to know those people. And those are all awesome. I think those are just different options. But for me, I needed to find a way that I could have a whole bunch of new people in my leads pool, if you want to call it that, on my contact list at once. I just am super busy. I do work physical therapy now, and I have 3 kids, and my husband has summers off because he's a teacher, and I don't have, nor do I even like going to parks. It's just not my thing. I just don't have a lot of time to be doing all these little things that might only generate 1 or 2 new leads. I need a whole bunch at once. So that's just that fit my personality. But really, it's about building relationships. And you know what? Patrice told me that the network industry average for follow-up on leads it was 80% of leads are not followed up on. Network marketing professionals get leads, they meet people, and they do not follow up. So I thought, shoot, I'm way ahead of the game if I just call every person that's actually in that basket, right? And that is true. I've actually seen it firsthand. I've done business with other consultants from other network marketing groups. They've been side by side in a booth, and they've never followed up with their leads. They've even told me so. I just never got to it. So getting out there, building relationships, follow up, right? Fortune's in the follow up, they say. And it's just ongoing. Know your numbers and know that it's just an asking game. It's just an activity game. I think here's a couple numbers that might help you guys out. Patrice told me, and seems to be true in my own averages, that it takes about 50 asks before you find 1 new business partner. So I looked at that as, okay, it takes me about 3 asks before someone would say yes to taking a look at the business. And then I know it takes about 8 to 10 business overviews for me to actually find 1 new business partner. So there have been times that my averages have been closer to like 30 or 40 asks before I would find a new business partner, but at least I know it takes a substantial amount of asking to end in the results of a new business partner, right? So then I wouldn't panic if I had 1 business overview and they didn't sign up. I wasn't thinking, what am I doing wrong? I just was thinking, well, right now is not the season for this person. I'm going to keep following up with her. I'll sprinkle her for however many years it takes, but I need to keep asking more people so that I can reach that point in my business where I have new business partners. Another statistic that was helpful for me was it takes about no, I get that one a little bit confused. It would take me about 10 to 15 dials in the day. 10 to 15, pick up the phone, dial before, in order for me to get 3 live asks. I don't know if that's helpful for you guys, but you know how sometimes we pick up the phone and say 4 or 5 times and say, no one's answering the phone. Nobody's home today. I can't reach anybody. Well, when you look at how many times have you actually dialed, it's not usually that many. It just feels like a lot. So that statistic still keeps me going. I think, I'm only at 5. I better keep going. Someone's bound to answer the phone here in the next few dials. So
I love that. That's a great clarification too, because I know we talk about 3 ask a day, but that means 3 live.
Yeah.
not just I got 3 voicemails and, because that's still not moving anything.
Well, and I know Patrice is very, very specific about dialing and talking on the phone, or in person, and I am too. I think that texting and Facebook messaging is awesome, but I just try to remind myself I can't count it as an ask if I just sent out a text and there was no response. If I am engaging in conversation with a person throughout the course of the day from a text, I'll count that as, okay, I've asked her something and we're engaging. But sometimes I think it's easy too to send out like 20 texts and we think, I did my due. But if nobody responds back, you didn't really do your due, right? You kind of got to generate.
What I've been finding with texting, Erin, too, is just I'll often text and then I'll call them. And even
Yes.
if it's just getting a voicemail, they'll get back to me in
Yep.
general because it's like, oh, it is important to her, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
What does she want? Maybe I
Yes.
should look again, you know? Because I know there's probably texts in my phone that I just haven't answered. So I'm trying to get off that emotional roller coaster and just do what it takes, you know, do what we're supposed to do. And that's talk to really a massive amount of people and sort through them to find who this is a fit for. And it's interesting. I love this whole conversation because in our team, of course, this is something that's going to come up over and over in our teams and our future teams. You know, everyone deals with this. Like, you know, my business is, you know, coming to a halt in the summer, and how do I drum up more business, and how do I do this? And vendor events, it's great. There's a 5K every weekend everywhere. So, you know, that would be definitely something to plug into. But my theory is if you're a little stuck, because, you know, I hear this a lot, like, well, we just need to find good verbiage. Well, we just need, you know, and instead of like changing everything, we just need to talk to more people. You're right. It's just the volume of people needs to go up. We don't need to keep changing what we're doing, but just talk to more. So my little challenge in our team is that we're talking, I said, well, let's reach out to 100 people in a week, you know, instead of 3 ask a day, let's just pump that up a little bit to get to get the results that we want. You know, if you're having trouble booking your calendar, it might not be the verbiage. It's just, have you really asked 100 people to take a look or to book for you or to, you know, share something about Arbonne with? Have you really talked to enough people? So this is amazing. And really it'll help, you know, it'll help you get practice with your verbiage. It'll help you, you know, track your own results. And I love that. It was the book by, what was that book? I can't think of the name. Anyway, I'll say it again at the end. But that's what he talked about, is if you want to change anything in your life and your business, then track your results. And I was like, ooh.
Oh, isn't that,
what is it?
Habits, Jack Canfield?
I'm sure that one's good too. It was a different book. Anyway, it's on the tip of my tongue. I gave it as a gift to my team. Do you guys know, Tara?
Yes, and there's a habit that you want, you need to track it. If there's a habit that you want to put in place in your life, you definitely have to track it so that you can see.
What's the book, Tara?
Compound Effect?
Compound Effect, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. It was a fantastic book. It kind of like hurt a little bit to read it because I was like, ooh, yeah, I have a lot that I need to improve upon. But yeah, if you want to track anything. And honestly, this is something I've really like implemented in lots of ways, like tracking my gratitude, tracking feeling grateful, tracking, you know, sending out thank yous, and you know what I mean? Like really getting yourself into a positive mindset, and you know, along with numbers and dials and all of that stuff too. But you can even track your mindset and your, you know, how you're working on your own personal growth and how you're being. So yes, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. I love, what was I going to ask you? So yes, I love how you talked about, because so often, I think that was on this latest Go for Gold, they talked about how often your warm market isn't the place where you're going to find all your business builders. It's the random, you know, casual conversations, and just being intentional and really like looking for people with needs, striking up conversations. I love how it was Sam Walton actually who talked about his method for meeting people was just to say the first thing, you know, like say the first word, ask the first question, be the first one to talk to someone. So whether you're in a grocery store or whatever you're doing in your day, be the first one to talk, and just like strike up and try to find those connections and things that you have in common with people. So I love that. It is true. I believe that, you know, your warm market can lead you to other things, but maybe it's not the place where you're going to build your whole business.
Yeah, I don't. Someone asked me the other day how many people on my team or in my organization were friends prior to Arbonne. And I only have I have, I guess, two friends that I've known through my husband and then through physical therapy. But otherwise, everyone else is not like what I would have considered my warm market. I met them once I started Arbonne and was really reaching out and just talking to new people. So I agree with that. And, I've looked at prior to physical therapy school, I had looked at other network marketing companies because I was curious, like, this, I don't know, it just sounded good, right? It sounded like something that I could do or would want to do. But what I found was that most of the time it was this intense pressure to sponsor or sign up anyone who breathed, anyone who, was around you. And the idea of everywhere I would go being that mindset of, oh my gosh, I'm around someone new, I need to sign them up, was totally overwhelming to me. And I said to my husband, I don't ever want to be a part of that. And, I just don't ever want to be a part of that. And so when I started taking a look at Arbonne, of course, that was my fear, but I love Arbonne's culture. It has been nothing like that. I've never once felt like I've had to sign someone up that I've been around. I have loved and enjoyed that I could just build a true relationship and be really genuine. And my thought now when I'm meeting new people is just, how can I bring value to their life? How can I connect with them and bless them in some way? How can I be a part of their life? Yes, I hope it's going to be Arbonne in some way, shape, or form, but I don't feel that pressure ever to just shove it down their throat. So I think, when you move out into your cold market, it's easy to think, how am I going to get someone to sign up quick? You don't. You can't. You can, I guess. But, I think of chatting with someone and saying, that I love visiting with you. I hope we can get together soon. Do we live by each other? Like, we should meet up at a coffee shop, or we should meet up at a park. I don't like parks that much. Just something to continue the relationship so that you can keep planting more seeds. That's fun. And I realize now that that's what I love about physical therapy is the relationships that I get to build over the course of seeing a patient for 6 to 12 visits. I get to do the same in Arbonne. It's not over one visit, it's over many visits that you build those relationships. And that's when you really get to empower them and you really get to bless them along the way. So we have a pretty awesome business. And it's nothing scary in what we have to do. It's just being you, right? Be you and be genuine and share something that's really awesome with other people.
I love it. Yes. And that takes the pressure away. I love that.
Totally.
So a couple questions, one from me, one from Tara. I just was curious what reach out method, I hear you saying you're doing the vendor events. What reach out method are you using? Like when you're booking a workshop, is it the Healthy Livings or how are you sharing Arbonne? And then Tara wanted to know what was in your goodie bag that you were gifting for winning in the drawing.
Yeah, actually, I can. I was making sure my kids weren't coming in there. I can actually message you a link for my Dropbox file. I have created a vendor event Dropbox file with like how to call someone, how to follow up. I have a picture of my booth and picture of my gift basket. And so I can definitely get that to you, and you can get it out to anyone else who wants to use it. But
thank you.
Yeah, I would say this. The vendor event, I just look at that as a means of getting new leads, new people, names, numbers to put on my contact list. It is not something that I use to replace any form of our system. It's just truly to meet new people and a large number of them all at once. And so my reach out methods in Arbonne are what our system is. I do parties. I call them workshops because that just sounds better in my own head. I can handle a nutrition workshop sound of things, not a party. So that's just what I use. So I do workshops and one-on-ones and business overviews. I share the business. So I just try and do what we're supposed to do. And as far as my workshops go, I don't have the time or the energy to come up with anything new. So I just use what is already working, and I use Donna Johnson's core presentation. And I love that. It's healthy from the inside out, right? So I always share skincare, I always share nutrition, and I just do that on it all the time. I hardly ever do anything different. Spa parties, cosmetic parties. I've done them before, but they're kind of a lot of work. And I feel like it takes a lot of time out of my evenings. I don't like to be away that much. So I try and keep it short like Donna did. I have yet to master her 30-minute in and out, 2 or 3 a day that she talks about, but I'll get there one of these days. So that's what I do. My workshops, I follow the core presentation. I use those script cards, those flashcards that she gave to all of us. I'm sure you guys have them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what I do because it looks simple to people, you know. I will say once a month, because it is my passion, and I have the physical therapy background. I love our nutrition line, and I love our 30 Days to Healthy Living program. And so I do host a 30 Days to Healthy Living workshop once a month, and it's at a coffee shop. And I obviously encourage my consultants to come with a guest. And it's an informational meeting, and it's more in depth about our 30-day program. And so it just allows people to bring their prospects to that. And it's just still short and sweet, probably 30, 45 minutes. And I just share the nutritional program. And then obviously the end is the same as all other closes. Take a look at the business, join and do the 30-day program, host your own workshop, that kind of a thing. So I'll offer that up once a month. And then that allows me, if you do have any business professionals in your organizations, I guess I could speak from that for a minute too, in that, I'm very, very careful about how I share Arbonne with my patients in physical therapy, not because I'm afraid to tell them, but I want them to know that they can come to my physical therapy appointments and just do PT and not think that I'm going to sell them on something else. So this workshop allows me to invite my patients to that. And I can say, I have this business outside of Arbonne. I love sharing clean eating and detox, and I think this could really be beneficial for you. So if you'd like to come to my workshop outside of our PT sessions, it's on such and such a day. And then I can talk to them outside of there. And I have many patients who decide to participate because that obviously would be a fit for everybody. So sometimes doctors or naturopaths or massage therapists or personal trainers, we get a little bit wrapped up in thinking, I can't share this in my business. You can. Just have to be a little bit strategic about how you do it. So invite them to something outside of that event. And it's a really nice way to blend the two together.
Great advice. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, I'd love to open it up. Go ahead and unmute yourself if you have a question. Oh, I knew Melinda would have a question. Yes, we love it.
Erin, thank you so much. I just wonder what did your business look like when you promoted
to region?
Mm-hmm.
I had and have still 8 district managers, and they've been, I don't know if any of them are on the call. We all have our ups and downs, right? But they're all pretty consistent with 2,500 building blocks. But I will say together during the region quals and promotion, we all rallied together really hard. And one of them went into area quals, and then many of them bonused their DM bonus. So that's still what my organization consists of. And I look forward, though, to helping them to promote to area and finding more to join our team.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Melinda was in Region Qual. She got a little taste, and she's on it. She's on a mission. She's going to promote anytime.
Good. Oh, I can't wait. I'll be watching and waiting. It's scary. I'll be honest. It's right. You have those scary moments because there's this quote I wanted to leave you guys with, and this leads me right to it. But it's scary. It can be scary because you cannot control it. You can't. You can do as much work as you can yourself, right? But you cannot come up with region numbers by yourself. And so this one quote by Mark Batterson has been something that's been helpful for me. You can have faith or you can have control, but you can't have both. if you want God to do something off the charts, then you have to take your hands off the controls. And for me, that's always what it's about. It's like, oh, okay, I see. If I'm going to want this really big dream, I'm going to have to have some divine intervention in order for it to happen. So,
is that from In a Pit with a Lion?
No, the Circle Maker.
Oh, the Circle Maker. Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. By Mark Batterson. It's a great book.
It is.
The Circle Maker by Mark Batterson.
Yeah, I have those CDs in my car and I listen to them all the time.
Love it. Love it. What other questions do you have? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Erin. Do you do vendor events with your consultants, or do you do them only by yourself?
I definitely encourage my consultants to either join me or to look for them themselves. But what I have found is that vendor events definitely can be an investment of money. Mm-hmm. Not that I have a lot, let me tell you. We've had some pretty tight times. But also as an investment of your mindset. And I just can't push or pressure anyone to do them because it is an investment. And so I am willing to do whatever it takes to make my business grow. I'm willing to invest whatever it takes to make it grow, like as far as mindset and money. At times I've had to invest a little bit more than I wanted, but I've known that there might be that ace, there might be that one person, and that drives me. A lot of people on my team don't see that. They don't have quite that same drive, maybe. So I just say that vendor events might not be for everyone, right? So find some other way to meet new people. That's fine.
So I guess what I'm saying is, how many people would you have at a booth?
Oh, at the most 2.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a little bit selfish too. When I go to a vendor event, I really want the most out of it that I can get. So the most I want to share it with is 2, because I want to make sure I come home with at least 20 new people to call. So there have been a few. So there's 2 years ago, I started participating in the Gluten-Free Fest, and it's around the U.S. You guys can look it up and see if there's one in your area. But the Gluten-Free Fest is a 2-day festival, and now the cost of it is $600 for a booth, which actually is really reasonable for a whole 2-day event. And that one, I will split it up between about 4 of us, and then we'll each take a chunk of time. I usually stay for the full 2 days so that I can kind of coach and train and help my consultants along the way, but I will only take a chunk of it for myself, and we just split up the cost. So that helps keep it reasonable. But otherwise, if it's just a one race, the race is only a couple of hours, the most I'll ever have is 2 with me and myself and one other.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know, Melinda, I don't know if you'd want to share, because you were, the last vendor event that you had, you were using a text message to send out to people that you really wanted to connect with, that you felt you had a relationship with, and she sent out a text that day, right?
Yes, actually, Tara and I were at the same event. We did that same thing that day. I don't have the text right in front of me, but it was something like, "So nice to meet you, Tara. I know that you're so interested in gluten-free, soy-free products, whatever. And if I sent you a video, would you watch it and let me know what you thought? Or let me know what you loved?" And so we sent that out. I got, out of 4, I got 2 people to respond, and then I got one-on-one out of it.
Yeah, see?
But to your point, I'm struggling with, actually, this is a great question for you. How do you follow up with all of those people? Do you have a system? Do you have a CRM that you're using, or?
Well, organization is something that I'm always working on. So we'll just put that disclaimer out there. But I enter in all of the names. Like when I come home from a race, I'll try to enter them all into an Excel spreadsheet so that there's not these papers floating around everywhere. And then I have another column for like the first contact, and I only call people 3 times ever, and then I just discard them. So follow up made, follow up 2, okay, got a result, follow up 3, still nothing, okay, move on. So that's how I'm keeping track. I'm just putting them into the Excel spreadsheet. So even now I could go back if I wanted to, several months back, and say, oh, I never got a hold of that person. I could try again if I wanted. I still have all those leads.
Great. Who else? Who else has a question for Erin? Stats are, oh yeah, share that, Kristen. I know that's what Barb Armstrong was teaching us. So.
Okay. I was just going to mention that I've heard, I didn't know who it was from, I couldn't remember, but I've heard a bajillion statistics over 16 years of Arbonne. So just that 7 to 12 times is like a really great thing to not stop calling someone unless they flat out say, do not call me. Just keep leaving a message at least 12 times, because that's like a really great statistic that says at that point, it's good to stop. But that's just something I've heard along the way.
Yeah, for sure. I actually have a hard time letting go of my leads. That's why they are still in Excel. Because I don't quite want to just say forever, because I think, well, what if 7 years down the way, that was my one? So I agree with you. As long as it's, as long as it's not that 7 to 12 times in a row, right?
Right. Yeah. Space them out.
Right, space them out.
I can imagine. Sure. That's awesome.
I remember Donna Weiser training on this, and she met it was a waitress, and she talked to her, and whatever it was that the waitress was interested in. So Donna called. I mean, it was like over 3 or 4 months, maybe once a week, whatever. Call. Finally, and no answer, mind you. And she still kept calling and leaving messages as if it was her first time that she was leaving a message. Like, hey, Tracy, I met you at this restaurant, whatever. You said you were interested in the healthy living or extra income, whatever. Finally, the girl responded and said, were you ever going to stop calling me? And Donna responded, which I think is so key. She said, well, no, you said you were interested, and I really feel like this could benefit your life. So no, I wasn't going to stop calling you, because I know how much this has changed my life. And, so she really built the value. It wasn't like in her mind, she was thinking she was bugging them. She was thinking, I have so much to offer. And the girl did end up joining her business. It just took a long time. And she went through relationship stuff and whatever. She was just in the middle of a thing, and, and actually was grateful, so interesting story.
Well, and I do think too, that if you, when I leave my messages, I'll try to say, and if I don't hear from you by tonight, I'll go ahead and give you a call tomorrow then. Or I'm calling you because, you wanted more information. So it at least lets them know that they started it, and they can stop it at any point by just responding to my call, right?
I've also heard, I don't know if I could just make a quick comment too. I've also heard people like nearing like that, 10th or whatever call where they're starting to feel uncomfortable, like I keep calling back. There's like a A, B, and C option. You can just leave a message saying, okay, A, either you want me to call you back and it's just the timing is wrong, or B, you're on a deserted island somewhere and you never want to hear from me again. Like you just do like an ABC thing. And then it's funny because one of them can be like satiric, like funny, and the last one can be like funny or something. And then it's like people will randomly respond back. It's crazy. I think it was from MJ Durkin training. If I find it, I'll post it on your
page.
Erin, so my team is texting me. They're asking, how often do you follow up? So is it like, do you have like a system? It's 1 day, 3 days, a week, a month?
On like current clients, or if I've done an event?
Events.
I try within the first 24 hours to have made at least one contact with everybody. And then I generally will wait a few days after that if I haven't heard from them, like 3-ish. Mm-hmm. And then if I haven't heard from them, then I'll wait a good week, sometimes even 10 days, and then I'll call again. So there's no specific science to my madness here.
Thank you. Well, it's working. Whatever you're doing is working. So we should all take note on that. So it doesn't matter. It's working.
Well, I will say too, know that it's working, but I worked really hard to just follow our system. I always feel like I need to give that strong disclaimer because it's so easy to think, well, I'll go do that and this and try this out. And I just use the vendor events to be able to fill my calendar with workshops and fill it with product follow-ups and so on and so forth. So the vendor events are still a work in progress. I'm always curious of how I can do it better and to get more out of it. But I, again, just try to remind myself that working in your cold market takes more time and takes more effort. So
thank you.
Thank you. It is. That was amazing. Some of my takeaways: have we talked to people enough that they would think of us in their point of desperation? I just thought that was so key because someone talked to you for 7 years and then you thought of her at your point of need. So are we doing that? Are we building those relationships where someone would think of us? You became more uncomfortable staying the same. So then that was your point of ready to go now. And then another good question for us to think about, do I have enough names on my list to make 3 asks a day? So another great question. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Danielle. Unmute yourself. One more question for Erin.
I'll make it quick.
Yeah.
I'm a new consultant with Arbonne, and so for me, I have my first one-on-one on Wednesday with a friend of mine who really doesn't want to go back to work after having her baby boy less than a month ago. So for me, going to this presentation, what would you recommend? Like, what are your must covers, I guess you could call them, when you go to a presentation and talk to someone about doing the business? What do you make sure that you cover every single time with that person?
I have learned this over time, and I don't always do it. It's not always, it's becoming more of a habit, but I really make sure that I ask enough fact-finding questions in that interview that I know why would you even look at a business like Arbonne? What is it that you're wanting in life? How much are you wanting to make? How many hours are you willing to work? If this were to be a fit for you, I just ask a lot of questions so that I know then what I can go forward and present. I don't present anything until I know some needs, because then you can fill those needs with Arbonne in any way, shape, or form, right? Product, business.
Danielle, I don't know if you've seen that document, Is Arbonne for You? But literally you can go through that document with someone and you've covered everything. So that's what we all use. It's called Is Arbonne for You? And it can be found on the source, right?
Okay, sorry, I was muted. I was saying, is it on the source? Because I tried searching for it and I haven't been able to locate it.
Where is it, you guys? I know it's on our team page too, but where did you find it before our team page?
On our Facebook page?
Yeah. It's on our Facebook page. Go ahead and reach out to me, Danielle. We'll make sure you get it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Awesome.
Tammy, isn't it on the Born to Lead and Succeed?
Yeah, it's on borntosucceedandlead.com for sure. Yes. Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I know one last thing. I know someone wanted you to repeat the quote that you said from Mark Batterson, and I thought that was a wonderful quote too.
Yeah, actually, I also found it on Pinterest the other day. I looked it up on Pinterest. So I can post the little Pinterest fancy, cute-looking quote on your
that'd be amazing. Sure.
page that you just added me to. I'll add it there.
Yes, I'd love that.
Okay. You want me to still repeat it now? I can.
Yeah, for sure. We'll just close it out with your amazing quote.
Okay. You can have faith or you can have control, but you cannot have both. If you want God to do something off the chart, you have to take your hands off the controls.
Whew. I love it. Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you, Erin.
Thanks for letting
Thank
me
you for
share.
sharing with us tonight. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule just to pour into us. And thank you for just, again, being a pillar person in my life that I want to get to know and surround myself with. I can't wait to see you in Green Bay. I can't wait for us to all go nations, because every single person on this call, we are the future generation of MVPs, and I want you to get your head around that because it's happening. We just have to get good at hearing the word no and still being grateful and just moving, moving through the people that have been placed in our path and finding a fit. That's it. That's it. We just need to do more. Not get all caught up in the drama, but just do more, talk to more people, and serve more. So love you so much. Thank you, everyone, for being on the call. And thank you again, Erin, for sharing with us. We appreciate you so much.
Of course. I hope to meet lots of you in Green Bay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Love
Okay.
you guys.
Thank you so much.